There are a lot of ballets that you don't get to fulfill your potential. But Schubert, the reason that you wanted to be a dancer, you finish that ballet and you go, yeah, that's why I wanted to be a dancer. It made everybody who was in Schubert became a better dancer. You had to be. It's really a ballet that was done to make dancers work at their top level.
Out of all the Choo San's pieces, there's two ballets that I wish I have done it. One is Configurations, the other is Schubert Symphony. And this is two pieces that I feel like I wish I have done it because I feel like this is the...
I taught it to you.
Well, I never performed.
I know, but I taught it to you.
Yes.
I very, very, very
Yes.
clearly remember you being in the room when I taught it.
Yes, but I never had a chance to perform it. And I feel like this is Choo San's piece for, in comparison to something like Diamonds by George Balanchine. I mean, but it's somewhat, a little bit different, but in the sense of a classical ballet, but still have the neoclassical theme, the element, and it's so matched so perfectly. So can you tell us a little bit about that piece?
You know, the interesting thing is that it was done on a dare. Choo San's style was very contemporary, neoclassical, definitely drawn from the classical vocabulary, but taking it one step beyond. He always used to say, oh, I could do a pure classical ballet, it'd be no trouble. I said, well, then we just do one and stop talking about it. And the result was Schubert Symphony. He did it because Washington Ballet at that point, we had done some Balanchine ballets, but we didn't have anything that was like purely classical. He did it to develop everybody's technique. So in other words, when you really look at Schubert as a ballet, the pas de deux that the principal does is very, very brief. All of the dancers, female dancers and the male dancers, do mostly what the principals do. It made everybody who was in Schubert became a better dancer. You had to be. You were dancing at soloist level. They were all dancing the same choreography, so everybody had to be at the same level. You didn't have someone sort of dressing the side of the stage.
Ballet, no.
So they all had to be good. And so it's really a ballet that was done to make dancers work at their top level.
Yes.
And that's why it's so rewarding, because there are a lot of ballets that you don't get to fulfill your potential. But Schubert, the reason that you wanted to be a dancer, you finish that ballet and you go, yeah, that's why I wanted to be a dancer. I'm always astonished at the structure of it. There are some choreographers that don't do a lot of interweaving of bodies. Choo San's choreography, there were an awful lot of patterns that happen, and the patterns are very sophisticated and very, very, very intelligent. It has brilliant musicality. You can see all of the steps in the music. You can see the music in the steps and the steps in the music. He was very sophisticated and very, very intelligent.
He's so musical. I mean,
And
we don't hear, he
yeah.
hears all these things, and he hears all the nuances, and he put all the emphasis into the right places. And to me, my experience with his ballet is that every time you do it, you actually learned and you studied, and actually you discover more things about the ballet that you never had. Knowing the first time you do it.
Yeah, the first time you learn the surface.
Yes.
Then the more you work on it, you start learning the deeper significance of it, whether it was within your movement qualities or your musicality or your technical abilities or your relationship to other dancers on stage. Sure. His ballets all possess that, and they're challenging. They're not the kinds of ballets that you can do easily. You need to be at the top of your game to do them.
Absolutely.
Schubert is one of those pieces that it looks almost effortless because it's such a spectacle when you see this. And people are shocked. It looks like such a huge ballet, but then when you actually count the numbers, it's not as big as it looks. But it looks, because it's so symphonic in scale.
His ballet is always so rewarding to do. It's like a gift.
Yeah.
Every time you get off stage after dancing one of his ballets, you just feel like it's like a gift. Something came over you, and it's just inspiring.
I realized when I was his rehearsal director, and I realized very, very early on that I was working for a genius. A very, very, very demanding genius, but a genius.
You never, there's ballets you can never get tired of dancing. And something like this, when you go on stage, when you're watching something like Schubert Symphony, it's mesmerizing, truly. And it's a gift to the dancers. Of course, it's a gift to the audience members as well. So when is the premiere?
When I first taught Schubert to the company was many years ago. Then for years we didn't dance it, and then when we brought it back in 2015, we've been doing it fairly steady in the repertoire since. It's been off stage for a couple of years now, and so at the end of July when we do the Masterpiece series at Waterfront Theatre, we're bringing it back again, and this time we have a lot of new people in the ballet, and they're discovering it for the first time, and enough people who have danced it before that there's a certain confidence at the front that they can sort of lean upon. It's the way the program's going to open, and that program has Choo San's ballet, Niels Christie's Purcell pieces, which is a wonderful piece, and then a ballet that was made for us by Tim Rushton called Quiver. So all of the things that are essentially, we've got a classical piece, we've got a very contemporary piece, and then we've got a piece that was made specifically for us. So it's a perfect blend of the evening.
What a beautiful, beautiful blend of repertory pieces. And I think Singapore audience is very lucky. And I think Singapore ballet theater's dancers are very lucky because they get to dance all those masterpieces.
That's why it's called Masterpiece.
Well, nobody should miss this wonderful opportunity.
Yes, you should all be there twice.
Thank you.